There was a hunter in the woods who, after a long day hunting, was in the middle of an immense forest. It was getting dark, and having lost his bearings, he decided to head in one direction until he was clear of the increasingly oppressive foliage. After what seemed like hours, he came across a cabin in a small clearing. Realizing how dark it had grown, he decided to see if he could stay there for the night. He approached and found the door ajar. Nobody was inside. The hunter flopped down on the single bed, deciding to explain himself to the owner in the morning. As he looked around the inside of the cabin, he was surprised to see the walls adorned by several portraits, all painted in incredible detail. Without exception, they appeared to be staring down at him, their features twisted into looks of hatred and malice. Staring back, he grew increasingly uncomfortable. Making a concerted effort to ignore the many hateful faces, he turned to the wall and, exhausted, fell into a restless sleep. The next morning, the hunter awoke. He turned, blinking in unexpected sunlight. Looking up, he discovered that the cabin had no portraits, only windows. If you are ever in an area of absolute quiet, still your breathing and move not a muscle. After a few seconds, you will notice that silence has a sort of sound of its own, a kind of empty ringing tone. This is nothing unique. Everyone will hear this, given the proper setting. An informed person will tell you that your brain is trying to interpret the lack of stimuli to your hearing, and so creates a bit of filler sound. This ringing sound actually serves a more arcane purpose, covering up a noise that we are not meant to hear. This sound is not impossible to hear, and if you are persistent, you can effectively break the cover-up sound. The next time you are silent and hear the ringing, shout at the top of your lungs for about half a minute, then be abruptly silent. It will be different for everyone. Some will hear nothing for dozens of tries. Others might pick up soft murmuring. A special few auditory heroes might clearly make it out on the first attempt. What you will hear is a voice that relays an account of events about to happen in the immediate future. It's like a sportscaster relaying the events occurring 10 seconds in the future. As time goes on, you will be able to make out this voice under increasingly noisy circumstances, to the point that it can be heard at any time just by concentrating. Such ability would be doubtlessly invaluable, no? You'll be able to react to any immediate danger, relate to people around you with greater ease. No one would ever surprise you. Now, of course, you are wondering what sort of horrible catch this ability entails. Perhaps the tone of the voice is so horrible that it will drive you mad, or maybe the voice will only predict your death over and over again. Of course, this isn't the case, though. It's a normal voice. Your ears receive it no matter what, and it's simply a matter of noticing. But there is a danger. For you see, where there is a voice, there is a body. And just like you will notice new sounds, so shall you notice new sights. More importantly, you will be noticed. An elderly man was sitting alone on a dark path. He wasn't certain of which direction to go, and he'd forgotten both where he was traveling to and who he was. He'd sat down for a moment to rest his weary legs, and suddenly looked up to see an elderly woman before him. She grinned toothlessly and with a cackle spoke. "Now your third wish, what will it be?" "Third wish?" The man was baffled. "How can it be a third wish if I haven't had a first and second wish?" "You've had 2 wishes already," the hag said, "but your second wish was for me to return everything to the way it was before you had made your first wish. That's why you remember nothing, because everything is the way it was before you made any wishes." She cackled at the poor man. "So it is that you have 1 wish left." "All right," he said. "I don't believe this, but there's no harm in wishing. I wish to know who I am." "Funny," said the old woman as she granted his wish and disappeared forever. "That was your first wish." Belief is a powerful thing. Well, not your belief. Your opinions couldn't be less important. But there is someone, and there always has been someone, who can control the universe by their powers of belief. You see, at any given moment, the universe is controlled by what one particular person believes. All things, right down to the laws of physics, are subject to instantaneous change as soon as one dies and another is chosen. Amelia Earhart disappeared when the new believer couldn't fathom a female aviator. Ever wonder why Newton's seemingly obvious laws of motion took so long to come around? Well, for thousands of years, all the believers put their stock in Aristotle's physics. Believers don't even know about their powers, and it's flat out impossible to tell who is one. I killed a puppy when I was 2.5. I was playing hide and seek, put it in an airtight container, buried it. Told Mom to find the puppy. She didn't. Of course, I didn't realize the puppy needed oxygen. I was 2. I always thought I was a psychopath, but all my victims tell me I'm not. They're very adamant about it. They scream it. You're not a psychopath. You're not a psychopath. There are small bits of time called data fragments. These data fragments became prevalent during the birth of the information age. When time is altered, the flow of time itself diverts. Occasionally, small trickles of the previous flow stay in the current. They exist as old photos, short text files, and wandering bits of fact. They stay within the network of the internet and modern computers as inane and useless information when a minutiae of the population browses, perhaps interested in these silly falsehoods. Yet we must remember that these were once true and are from a time most likely very different from ours. Think about every short story, creepypasta, misquote, and edited picture you've ever seen online. One of these may be a data fragment. Who's to say that the flow of time from which they come does not have data fragments from ours? Who's to say they do not notice? And I am always with you. I was there from the time you were born. I stood in the delivery room, staring down at you before you could even open your eyes to see me. Your parents, relatives, and doctors couldn't see me there in the corner, watching you with cloudy eyes, but I was there from the time you were born, and I followed you home. I was with you always, your constant companion. You played with your toys alone while I stared from all angles in nearby mirrors, my matted, clotted hair with oily sweat that hung off my dented forehead like glue. I was always your constant companion, drifting behind your mother's car in your ride to preschool. You alone in the bathroom, but I was on the other side of the door, wind whistling through the bruised hole in my throat, my arms twisted and hanging in their sockets as I stood hunched on the other side of the shower curtain. I wait and follow you. I follow and drift behind you. I'm not seen. I'm almost not there in light. You never saw me that morning as I sat across from you at the breakfast table, a shiny red clot hanging from my empty tooth socket as it gaped grotesquely at you. I wonder sometimes if you know I'm there. I think you are aware, but you'll never understand just how close I am. I spend hours of your day doing nothing more than breathing in your ear. Gagging, really. I crave to be close to you, to always wrap my crippled arms around your neck. I lie near you every single night, cloudy eyes staring at the ceiling, underneath your bed, at your sleeping face in the dark. Yes, you caught me staring occasionally. Your parents came running down to your room one night when you screamed. You were just beginning to talk, so you were only able to cry out, "Man! Man!" in my room. You thought you'd never forget the sight of me with my collapsed jaw hanging to my chest, swinging back and forth. I sank back into your closet, and your mother was unable to see me, though you pointed and pointed and pointed. You thought you'd never forget when they left that same night. You saw the closet door crack so softly and me crawling across the floor on your bed on all fours, shambling and jerking movements as I pushed myself there in disjointed limbs. You learned a new word from me. Boogeyman. Not quite the monster you thought I was. I'm just waiting and following you always, touching your face with my knotted fingers as you sleep. You'll see me again soon. Any day now, I'm coming, blunt and brutal. One day I'll walk across the road, and I believe I'll plow into you with a loud roar and screech. You rolling on the pavement, rolling under wheels, blunt force metal fenders, and my fingers touching your face again and again. As you stare up from the cold pavement with cloudy eyes, your matted, clotted hair hanging in your face and your jaw unhinged and swinging to your chest, you'll see me approaching. No one else will see me. You'll stare past them into my eyes, and I'll leer down at you. For the first time in our life, something like a smile will come over my face. You'll swear you're looking into a mirror as clotted red bubbles from our mouths. I'll lean down, past the doctors and the ogling people, and pick you up with my crooked arms. Our faces will touch. My wings will unfurl, and then you'll have to follow me. And I am always with you. I am your guardian angel.